Hey Star Wars fans, Budget Jedi here with a diorama attempt. Here is my recent shipment of my Black Series 4-inch figures. I got the next wave from an online retailer called Beyond Mortality Toys. So I found these guys online. They have very good prices. They actually are a small retailer that just opened up earlier this year. And their prices are very competitive and shipping rates are very fair. I actually got all these figures for less than $8 each, shipped to me as part of their grand opening deal. What I like about this wave is it's mostly original trilogy figures. I actually really like that Darth Vader. I was looking forward to it. If you guys want to see a review on that, check out Jedi Master 738. She did a really nice review on that super articulated Darth Vader. But the figures that I'm most excited about this time are these two right here, Yoda and Luke from the Dagobah scene. So here's Luke and Yoda out of the box. Pretty cool. Definitely not the best looking figure we've had so far, but pretty cool in terms of articulation and detail nonetheless. And my idea is very simple. Basically, it involves Luke, Yoda, and maybe one X-Wing here. As you can see, I've made this cardboard setup. Like a lot of my dioramas, I like to put some structure behind it. And I'm thinking of putting the Yoda hut here on the left and some water or swampy area up here where the X-Wing is going to be. Alright, just to give you guys a little sense of scale, this is the figure compared to the cardboard background that I have. And for the main structure of the hut itself, I got one of these $1 kit helmets. They have these at either Dollar Tree or the $1 section at Target. So that's probably going to go in the corner. I'm going to cut up a part of that. And I've also got a bunch of this floral moss. There's a section in the Dollar Tree store that sells a whole bunch of like plant and fake plant materials. Two things that I happen to have that I think will be useful for this project especially. One is the triple thick glaze. This is basically like a chemical coating that you can put on different ceramics. And you just basically spray it on and it dries up. This will be especially useful for areas that I want to make as like a wet surface, such as the swampy areas. And also the great stuff. This is something I've used before in a previous diorama. I'm sure you've seen it. This will be very useful to make organic looking structures such as the branches and different types of rocks, I believe. So the first thing I want to do is obviously make the shape of the land down here in the bottom. And I've got tons of cardboard, so I cut up a few pieces here and started layering them. Then I'll take some spackling compound and kind of smooth it over. That way it looks a lot more natural. And then I'll take Yoda's hut here that I've cut a hole in. And I'll probably have to make the mouth of it with some clay. I've actually got some Play-Doh here lying around. And I'll have to do a little bit of clay molding. Making the doorway to Yoda's hut by basically rolling pieces of Play-Doh here and adding it right on top of the hole. And just slowly attaching it like so. Here's a quick update on the hut itself. I've been using Play-Doh to kind of make some shapes on the doorway here, as well on top. Now, you've seen me work with Play-Doh. There are different ways to dry Play-Doh, but with this one, I'm literally just waiting for it to dry. I've left this for about 2 days, and it's completely dry and hardened. And as you can see here, the doorway is perfectly round because I am using the Play-Doh container. And I am also adding some root-like items by using this sizzle twine. Again, this is a cheap item that you can get at dollar store. And I am sticking it all with glue gun. Alright guys, here's a quick update on my setup. As you can see, I've put my Yoda's hut right in there with the dried Play-Doh. Gonna have to color it, of course, later, but got tons of kind of makeshift roots and trees, all done by the Great Stuff Gaps and Cracks. And I've also put another tree on the side here. That's actually foil. You can see aluminum foil in there. Just crumpled it up and made it into a tree, and then put the Great Stuff all over it. And I made sure to do the spraying vertically because I think that helps make it look like it's an actual tree. And the rest of the setup looks okay right now. This is dried spackling. I just tried to make it smoother, but later on I'd like to spray everything black as the base color. And you know, I just put the rest of the stuff that I have left over here just so it looks like a soupy gunk that's in the pond. I'm also starting to use some of this moss stuff that I bought at Dollar Tree because the great stuff is still wet and it's easy to work with. You can literally stick some stuff on there and it acts like a glue while it hardens. Right now I'm applying some paint, and that's going to be black all over, and I'm using this black acrylic paint from Walmart. Mix it in with a little bit of water and basically just putting it all over the place. Now for the rest of this, I'm going to do some touch-ups with some brown and green on the diorama. Alright guys, here's an update to the diorama. I have put in all the paint that I needed to put, I think. I used kind of a brownish green color on the hut and more darker green on all the tree structures and greener green on the swamp part, sort of like pea colored green. And I cut some extra material here. There was a lot of cardboard here that I cut out because I don't need it, and I rounded off this edge here just because I felt that it was too square. I've also experimented with some cotton to mimic sort of the smoky or foggy areas. I'm probably going to be using a lot of these strings as part of the forest as well. I have not only sizzled twine here, but also I have a small rope that I can take apart into smaller strings. Unfortunately, I don't have thinner string than this at my disposal for now, but I'm going to color it black and stick it all over the trees. Just like in the movie, there's a bunch of these root-like thingies hanging down from the forest to make it seem like it's a very, very large forest. And I think for the last part, I'm going to finally use this glaze to make the swamp area look very wet and water-like. Of course, I'm hoping to put this X-Wing inside the diorama as well. If you remember, in the movie, this X-Wing comes out of the swamp with all sorts of moss and you know, wet stuff dripping off of it. And I'm going to try to recreate that by using the moss that I bought from Dollar Tree. First thing I did here is wrapped the parts that I want to drape over with saran wrap just to cover it while I make the moss itself. So I don't want to use the moss in this form from the store. I'd like it to look more wet and stuck together. That way I can put it on the ship, on and off, which is a nice feature. And I'm thinking that I'm going to try to make them stick together by using Elmer's glue here. I'm just going to dump a whole bunch in this container. Then I'm going to mix it. After it's all sort of clumped together, I think I can pick up a little piece here. Put it right on top of different parts of the plane. And possibly even shape it. Alright guys, I just left it out overnight to dry and removed all the saran wrap. I actually got too excited to remove it, so I forgot to record it on video, but this is how it comes out. It's nice and solid, and it looks pretty good. You know, I don't know any other method to do this better, but this is good enough. And you have to kind of handle it carefully, obviously, because some parts do crack off because they're hard and fragile, but for the most part, you know, it works. So here's my diorama complete. Pretty involved build. Took about 3 days total time, but real work time is probably, I would say, 5 to 6 hours without all the drying time. But first of all, let me put my disclaimer here. This is absolutely not the best way to do this. My channel is not a tutorial. Rather, it's a record of my attempts using what I happen to have around me at the moment, and nothing more than that. That being said, let me know what you guys think. I'm always interested to know. And also, let me ramble about what I did here. First of all, let's take a look at the hut itself. Using the army helmet, I thought it came out okay, but I did not have enough Play-Doh to cover the whole thing, which would have been nice. So you can see there are imperfections here. But I was really impressed with the way the Great Stuff spray came out. These large parts, trunks, actually look like tree trunks. Actually, some of you longtime subscribers might know, once I made some Endor trees using a completely different method. I used tape and cardboard. Completely different than this. And this was the first time I tried Great Stuff for making tree trunks. And this was my first shot. I only had one shot. So I feel like it came out great for making these type of Dagobah trunks and roots. But what really helped me out this time was the triple glaze spray. It literally made everything look so wet, which was the effect that I wanted. I actually sprayed everything except this ground here. As you can see, it's because I wanted the swamp and the ground to look very different. Anyway, I've been really wanting to make a Dagobah set for myself. As you can see, I've made sure that there's like many places for different movie scenes here. First, Yoda's hut can fit some lighting from the front here or from the back of the diorama, since I have conveniently cut a hole in the back of the helmet, in the back of the diorama here. So this is the main area where we can have Luke do his handstand or running. And here's why I really put a tree trunk here, because I can use this twine for Luke to do his climbing. That's a pretty cool feature, I think. And finally, the setup that I will use for my display is Yoda using the Force, and the X-Wing can go right here. I have some clear party cups here. Don't know how else to make this thing levitate. But look at that. This X-Wing being here really makes all the difference. I really love it. And one last thing, I want to take this opportunity to mention another channel actually. Oftentimes I'll get a subscriber that's not actually a fan of Star Wars, but a fan of diorama making in general. So if you're one of these guys, if you love dioramas, be sure to visit this channel, Judy Fitzgerald. She's a very talented artist that loves to make dioramas of all things fun, and she is absolutely not bound to just one theme. Definitely one of my favorite channels to visit. So be sure to check it out. Other than that, I'm going to be enjoying this display for quite a while, I hope. And as usual, I appreciate those who watched this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope to see you on the next one.